Hey watchers, it's your girl Big Ish. Welcome back to Black People Watch. Thank you so much for watching my channel. This week we're reviewing Pieces of a Woman. Now this movie got mixed reviews from critics, okay? Some said it was really strong in the beginning, but it kind of fell flat towards the end. So I'm going to give you the average Joe's or Josephine's view of this movie. I'm sorry, that was corny. Pieces of a Woman was directed by Cornel Mondrusco and written by Kat Weber. It stars Vanessa Kirby, Shia LaBeouf, and Ellen Burstyn. Let's get into the plot, shall we? We shall. We are going to get all the way into this plot. When a young mother's home birth ends in unfathomable tragedy, she begins a year-long odyssey of mourning that fractures relationships with loved ones in the deeply personal story of a woman learning to live alongside her losses. Okay, so let's talk about it. Vanessa Kirby plays Martha and her husband is Shia LaBeouf, who plays Sean. In the beginning, the movie opens up with Sean on the docks. He's a regular schmegular, average working Joe, and he's excited about the birth of his daughter. He's telling his co-workers and all that my daughter's about to be born, and I made a promise to her, and he's so excited. You can really tell. He arrives home to his lovely wife, and she goes into labor. Now they have a midwife. Instead of choosing to go to the hospital and give birth in a hospital, they choose to have a home birth with a midwife, which is fine. They call the midwife, and the midwife is with someone else. She has another birth, and she sends over another midwife to stand in for her, which they do. Now, the beginning of the movie, you can feel that something is going to happen. You're happy. They seem like a lovely couple. They're kissing. He's caressing her. He's very attentive. And they seem like, they're just the perfect ideal couple. But the way that it's directed and the way that this opening scene of Martha giving birth is shot is that you can tell that something is going to happen. Now, when I first start watching a movie or when I go into a movie, I don't even like to read reviews on it, or I don't even like to know what the plot is. I want to go in with a clean slate and be able to receive the movie that way. That's just how I am. That just works for me. I knew nothing about this movie before I watched it. But you can tell that something is going to happen, and something does. After giving birth to her beautiful baby girl, the midwife looks in the mirror and realizes that the baby is turning purple. She does her best to perform CPR on the baby. Sean has already called 911 because there was some irregularities in the heartbeat when Martha was giving birth. So the midwife already told Sean to call 911. The ambulance arrives and they cut scene. They open back up months later, and you realize that Martha and Sean lost their daughter that night. There's no rhyme or reason as to why Martha and Sean's daughter died that evening. They do an autopsy on the baby, and they realize that it was natural causes. There's no cause. The hospital would love for Martha and Sean to donate their daughter's body to science. I am a person that believes in that strongly. I took my name off of my driver's license as being a donor, but my family knows that as soon as I go over to the other side, anyone is welcome to, my organs and everything that I have. I won't need it where I'm going, hopefully. And everybody's welcome to it. And if it can improve someone's life for me to donate my body or, my organs to someone else's life and they're able to live, I'm happy to do so. I don't need it. Also, my father is a cancer survivor because someone was kind enough and thoughtful enough to donate their liver after they passed away, and he was able to get a liver transplant. So that's near and dear to my heart. Martha also feels that, her daughter's body could benefit someone, and she wants to donate it to science. You see in this movie that Sean and Martha are dealing with the death of their daughter differently. Martha shuts down completely. And I kind of understand where she's coming from. Here's the thing, what happens with some women, and I'm going to say some because it's not all. We have a feeling that it's our child that passed away. Of course, there's a father and there's a husband and there's a significant other. But when you carry a human being in your body for 9 months, you feel like you have a closer bond. Sean struggles deeply with the death of his daughter, and he needs someone to hold on to. And he's asking for Martha to be there for him, and she can't because she's dealing with it in her own way. He begs her to just hold him, and she can't do it. She can't do it because she feels like nobody has lost like she has lost, and that's totally unfair to Sean. And she is just overwhelmed with grief. Her family and the news media has been watching this because people want the midwife to go to jail for this. They feel like she did something. How could this perfectly healthy baby just die? Martha's mother, who is Elizabeth, who's played by Ellen Burstyn, who is just fantastic, phenomenal in this movie, she wants her to press charges against this midwife and send her to jail. Sean is a recovering alcoholic. He's been sober for 6 years, and the death of his daughter triggers his addiction. And so he goes back to alcohol and drugs. And we watch that play out because he does not have his wife to lean on. And I'm not going to blame it solely on her because Martha was going through the things that she was going through. The news media is involved. So on top of the pressure of losing her daughter, here you have the news media everywhere you go, and they're filming and they want to know what's going on with your daughter's death. And, they're trying to figure out who they can blame. Throughout the movie, we see that Sean makes terrible decisions, mainly because he feels alone in his marriage and he's back to doing drugs and alcohol. He ends up having an affair with the attorney and is just not good. The movie reveals that Martha and Sean are slowly falling apart. Their marriage is deteriorating because of this, and it's unfortunate. Ellen Burstyn, who plays Elizabeth, was just phenomenal in this movie. Her time on screen is very limited, but the time that she's on screen, she dominates every scene. She is the center of attention. You focus on her, and she even has an argument with Martha because she wants Martha to speak out about the injustice that was done to her in regards to this midwife and her daughter. And she tells her a story about the Holocaust and being a Holocaust survivor. And she's so excited and so passionate in her delivery of this speech to Martha that I thought the lady was going to have a heart attack. I'm like, Elizabeth, honey, just take it down a notch. But she's so powerful. I mean, just amazing actress. Definitely great. So Elizabeth has a scene with Sean, and she sits down and she says, "You know what, buddy? I never liked you. I've never liked you. I mean, cold. She was cold, honey. She was cold. She was like, I never liked you. And it's not because you're poor." And he says, well, then Sean picks up and says, well, I know it's because I'm not well written and I don't speak the King's English and blah, blah, blah. And she just sits there and she just lets him ramble on. She doesn't even interrupt him because that's probably not it either. But in her mind, she's like, listen, I got some money. You can take it and go and never come back. And, eventually he follows through on that. She knows that deep down inside, Sean is a piece of crap, and she wants him out of her daughter's life, and she's willing to pay whatever it is she has to pay to get him to go far, far away and never come back. And I just loved it. So here's my review. For the average Joe, somebody who's looking for excitement, this is not your movie. This movie is solely based on the acting. There's limited scenes and they're in certain places, and all the scenes are taken up by acting. Shia LaBeouf, is that how you say his name? He is a great actor. You love how he plays a regular guy. He can really play a regular schmegular guy. I thought that Vanessa Kirby I thought she shined through. I just think that she shined. I think that her character was very pensive. So there would be a lot of pauses in her deep in thought and thinking. And to some people that could seem a little drab, it could seem slow. So I can see how people thought that it started off strong in the beginning, but then in the end, it wasn't much there. I felt that the conversations in this movie were very natural. It didn't seem like it was rehearsed. It didn't seem like acting. It seemed like a camera had came into somebody's living room and just started filming. The people were kind of talking over each other. Some people don't like that. I do, because it makes the scene feel natural to me. I enjoyed it because I am a person who enjoys good acting. I don't need a whole lot of excitement. I don't need a whole lot of drama going on. I need good actors, and I can enjoy a movie that way. For a regular schmegular person who's looking for something that's going to keep them entertained, I don't know if this is your movie. But if you enjoy movies that have strong actresses, strong actors, it's more about dialogue, it's more about the position of the camera, it's more about scenes, then you're going to enjoy this. You have to come into this movie with an open mind that this is not going to be your normal entertainment. The same way you have to go into a movie like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is solely about the actors and actresses. So, for that, I'm going to give this movie 8 stars. Now, for an average person who doesn't really care too much about acting, you might be bored. You might give it a 4. I'm just going to be honest, because I understand the critic in me and I understand the regular person in me. The regular person in me says, there wasn't any drama. Nobody got smacked. It was no chasing of a car. There was none of that in this. But the critic in me just really appreciated the dialogue, and I really appreciated the perspective from the husband who had lost a child, which you don't see much of in life. When somebody says such and such lost their baby, you're like, oh my God, poor thing, she must be, you know what I mean? We kind of got a bird's eye view of a male's perspective from losing a child and how he mourned. He wanted this baby just as much as she did, and it was just as hurtful for him to lose his daughter as it was for her. I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was great writing. So, I enjoyed that aspect of it. Towards the end of the movie, you find out that Martha does the right thing. They're going to prosecute this woman, and Martha goes up in court and she says, we're not going to do this. I'm not going to prosecute her. She didn't do anything to my baby. My baby just died. She died like people die. People die every day. And it's unfortunate and it's sad, but we do. As natural as it is for us to come into this world, it's just as natural for us to leave it. And that's hard to deal with in its struggle, but Martha had came to terms with that. My baby just died. Nobody killed her. Nobody was intentionally trying to hurt my child. This woman wanted to deliver a healthy baby that night. I wanted to hold a healthy baby, and it didn't happen. And it's got to be okay, and I have to move on with it. And wow, powerful performances. Powerful. I love this movie. I enjoyed every minute of it. Even towards the end, when people said it lagged in the ending, not for me. I really enjoyed Martha's speech, how she got up there in front of the judge and she wanted to talk. She found some old photos of her baby and saw her holding her baby and how happy she was for those few seconds that that baby was in her arm. It brought tears to my eyes. It brought tears to my eyes for every mother that has had that kind of loss. And I haven't experienced it, but I know people who have. I know families who have gone through that, and it's devastating, and you don't think that you'll survive it. You don't think that you'll survive it, but you do. Just like every other thing, you survive it. And it's, she felt blessed to have that baby in her life for the few moments that that baby was there. Wow. This movie was thought-provoking. It was heart-wrenching. It made you look introspectively. So if you think that you'll like something like that, I tell you, turn it on, grab some tissues, get ready for a good cry, and enjoy this movie. Thank you so much for watching Black People Watch. This is your girl, Big Ish, and I want you to love each other for no reason at all. You don't need a reason to love somebody. You can just do it. If you have a reason to hate, you can have a reason to love. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.